What if I told you the Cuban Missile Crisis wasn't 13 days of calculated brinkmanship, but 35 days of near-apocalyptic accidents, cover-ups, and one American pilot who accidentally flew 90 miles into Soviet airspace with live nuclear missiles while the world was watching Cuba? Smash subscribe right now, bell on, notifications all, because this declassified truth will rewrite everything you thought you knew about October 1962. Let guess go, frame by frame, like the classified reel the CIA locked away for 31 years. You know the story. October 16th, Kennedy learns of Soviet missiles in Cuba. October 27th, naval blockade. October 27th, U-2 shot down. October 28th, Khrushchev blinks. 13 days. Done. But that's the Disney version. The real crisis began on October 14th, when Major Richard Heiser took the first clear photos of the San Cristobal missile sites. And it didn't end until November 20th, when the last Soviet IL-28 bomber left Cuba. That's 35 days. And in between, a chain of accidents so dangerous, both superpowers agreed to bury them. Comment 35 days if your textbook just lied to you. Let's start at the very beginning, before the world even knew. September 1962. CIA analysts in Washington pore over blurry U-2 photos from earlier flights. They see unusual activity in western Cuba. Trucks, tents, what look like soccer fields. But no one says, missiles, not yet. The agency's top Soviet expert, Raymond Garthoff, writes a memo. Possible agricultural project. The White House ignores it. Meanwhile, in Moscow, Marshal Sergei Biryuzov, deputy defense minister, arrives in Havana disguised as an engineer. His real job, pick missile sites. He chooses San Cristobal because the hills hide the launchers from U.S. reconnaissance. He cables Khrushchev. Terrain perfect, Americans blind. Comment, soccer fields, if you're already seeing the irony. 7:31 a.m. October 14th, Eglin AFB, Florida. U-2C tail number 66 takes off. Pilot, Major Richard S. Heiser, 35, 6'4". Calm under pressure, former test pilot. Mission, fly 1,200 miles south, photograph western Cuba, return. He climbs to 72,000 feet, above Soviet SAM range, or so they thought. The flight plan is classified, eyes only. Heiser carries a cyanide pill in his flight suit. Over San Cristobal, cloud cover forces him lower, down to 68,000 feet. His camera captures SS-4 medium-range ballistic missiles, 40 of them, each with a 1-megaton warhead, range 100 miles, enough to hit Washington, New York, Dallas. But here, yes, what no one told you. Heiser flew so low to avoid clouds that his left wingtip scraped a Cuban palm tree. The plane shuddered. He thought, if I go down, I start World War III. He didn't. But the photos? They were the spark. Comment palm tree, if you're picturing it. Back in Washington, October 15th, 9 p.m. The photos land on McGeorge Bundy's desk, National Security Advisor. He looks at them, turns pale, and decides, don't wake the president yet. Kennedy is asleep. Bundy waits until morning, October 16th, 8:45 a.m. Kennedy sees the photos. His first words, he's not going to get away with this. The ExComm committee meets in secret. No press, no leaks. But here's the twist. The Soviets already know the photos exist. A Cuban double agent in Miami tipped Moscow. Khrushchev's response, speed up deployment. By October 27th, 102 nuclear warheads are in Cuba, not the 60 Kennedy thought. Comment, 102 warheads, if your blood just ran cold. Now, October 27th, the day the world remembers. 9 a.m., Baines, Cuba. Major Rudolf Anderson lifts off in U-2C Article 356, mission, confirm missile removal. But Soviet General Pliev, commander in Cuba, has standing orders. Shoot down any U-2. 10:20 a.m., an SA-2 missile detonates 100 feet behind Anderson's plane. Shrapnel rips the cockpit. He never ejects. His body is recovered with the film canister. Photos proving missiles still operational. He's the only U.S. combat death of the crisis. His widow, Jane, receives his Distinguished Flying Cross in 2011, 49 years late. Comment, Rudolf, if you feel that. But 1,500 miles north, the real near-miss unfolds. 11 a.m. Alaska time. Captain Charles W. Maultsby, 35, married, 2 kids, takes off from Eielson AFB in U-2F, tail number 900. Mission, air sampling. Collect fallout from Soviet nuclear tests in Novaya Zemlya. He's flying a polar route. The aurora borealis is spectacular. Greens, purples, reds dancing across the sky. But it scrambles his stellar navigation. His sextant fails. His compass spins. He thinks he's over the North Pole. He's actually heading east, into Soviet Chukotka. 11:47 a.m. Soviet radar at Anadyr picks him up. 6 MiG-17s scramble. Maultsby's U-2 carries 2 nuclear-tipped GAR-11 Falcon missiles, 0.25 kilotons each. 1 dogfight equals tactical nuke over Siberia. Pentagon loses contact. SAC goes to DEFCON 2, first time in history. B-52s with live H-bombs airborne. Comment, DEFCON 2, if you just felt that. Maultsby flies in radio silence for 3 hours. Fuel, 7 hours total. He's been airborne 5 hours. Soviet MiGs close to visual range. One pilot later said, "We saw the American star. We were ordered not to fire." Why? Khrushchev personally intervened. He didn't want escalation. Maultsby finally picks up a Canadian weather beacon, recalculates, turns south. Lands at Kotzebue, Alaska, 7 minutes of fuel left. His logbook entry: "I thought I had started World War III. He's debriefed in secret. No medal. No press. Comment, 7 minutes if your palms are sweating. Why didn't we know? Both sides buried it." Kennedy: "We can't admit our pilots are lost with nukes." Khrushchev: "We don't want to look weak." The Moscow-Washington hotline, the red phone, was installed June 1963 because of Maultsby's flight. But the cover-up went deeper. October 28th, Khrushchev agrees to remove missiles. November 20th, last IL-28 bomber leaves. But in 1992, Cuban workers find 1 crate of nuclear warheads left in a cave near Saroa. The crate is still there, under lock, guarded by Cuban troops. Comment, left behind, if history just got darker. Let's talk human cost. Rudolf Anderson, killed over Cuba. His widow, Jane, kept his flight suit in a closet for 49 years. Charles Maultsby lived until 1998, never spoke publicly. His daughter said, "Dad came home, hugged us, and never flew again." The hotline saved us in 1967, 1973, 1983. But in 1962, we survived by luck. The Berlin crisis of 1961 taught us nothing. We were 1 palm tree, 1 aurora, 1 trigger finger from annihilation. Comment, luck, if you agree. Fast forward to 2025. Titan II silos are museums. U-2s still fly over China, Iran, North Korea. The hotline still exists, now digital, encrypted, but accidents still happen. March 2023, a US MQ-9 Reaper drone nearly collided with a Russian Su-27 over the Black Sea. The Russian pilot dumped fuel, clipped the drone's propeller. June 2024, a Chinese J-16 dumped chaff on an Australian P-8 Poseidon, blinding its radar. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Comment, rhymes if you see it. So no, the Cuban Missile Crisis wasn't 13 days. It was 35 days of accidents, cover-ups, and 1 pilot who flew into Russia with nukes, while the world watched TV. Smash subscribe, bell on, notifications all, because next week, the Berlin Tunnel, CIA dug 1,476 feet under East Germany, and the KGB let them, for a price. Drop your Cuban crisis memory in the comments. Were you in school? Hiding under a desk? Did your dad build a fallout shelter? Type 35 days. I read every single one. The best gets pinned. Algorithm, do your thing. Let's make real history viral. Subscribe, comment, share, now.